February 8, 2023, 4:30 a.m., Vuhledar, Donetsk Oblast. A mining town of 14,000 people sits on a hill, 190 meters above the surrounding plain. The high ground overlooks flat agricultural land stretching for kilometers. Roads converge here. The T-0509 highway runs south toward Mariupol. Control Vuhledar, control the logistics. Russian commanders understand this. They've tried to take the town for a year, failed repeatedly. Today they try again, differently, massively. Russia's 155th Naval Infantry Brigade leads the assault. Pacific Fleet Marines, considered elite, supported by 40th Naval Infantry. Hundreds of vehicles, 30-plus tanks, 50-plus infantry fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers, artillery support, engineer units. This is not a probing attack. This is a full-scale assault. The plan: overwhelm Ukrainian defenses through sheer mass, advance in multiple columns, take the town before defenders can react. Russian officers brief their men. Vuhledar will fall by evening. Ukrainian forces wait. 72nd Mechanized Brigade, dug in, fortified, minefields laid, artillery registered, anti-tank positions prepared. They've defended this town for 12 months. They know every approach, every kill zone, every weakness in Russian tactics. At 4:30 a.m., Russian columns advance. This is WarFist TV, where we analyze the battles that change wars. Because what happens in the next 48 hours will become a case study in how defensive positions, terrain advantage, and Ukrainian determination can destroy a Russian brigade. Hit subscribe. You need to see how a mining town became Russia's graveyard. Vuhledar's geography is its strength. The town sits atop a plateau, 190 meters elevation. Surrounding farmland is flat, minimal cover, long sight lines. Defenders on the high ground can see attackers from kilometers away. Artillery firing from elevation gains range. Shells travel farther downhill than uphill. Physics favors defense. The town itself provides additional advantages. Soviet-era apartment buildings, 9 to 12 stories tall. Concrete construction, thick walls. These buildings become fortresses. Upper floors provide observation posts, thermal cameras, drone operators, spotters for artillery. Lower floors house infantry positions, anti-tank missile teams, machine gun nests. Basements serve as bunkers, protection from artillery, storage for ammunition and supplies. Tunnel networks connect buildings. Defenders move unseen. Between the high ground and the fortified buildings, Vuhledar is a natural strongpoint. Taking it requires overwhelming force or competent tactics. Russia attempts the former without the latter. The roads approaching Vuhledar are limited. T-0509 from the south, secondary roads from west and east, all exposed, all covered by Ukrainian observation, all registered by Ukrainian artillery. Russian forces must use these roads. Armored vehicles cannot cross the muddy fields effectively. Not in winter, not in spring. The ground is soft. Tanks bog down. So columns form on roads, single file, or two abreast where roads are wide. This creates vulnerability. The Ukrainian defensive preparation is thorough. Minefields on approach roads, TM62 anti-tank mines, weight activated, designed to destroy tracks or wheels. Behind minefields, infantry positions with anti-tank guided missiles, Stugna P Ukrainian made, Javelin American made, NLW British made, range 2,000 to 5,000 meters, covering all approaches, artillery positions behind the town. 152mm howitzers, 122mm guns, mortars, pre-registered fire missions, coordinates calculated for every meter of approach routes. When Russian vehicles reach specific points, artillery fires. No adjustment needed, just execution. Which defensive advantage matters most at Vuhledar? RA, high ground elevation. B, fortified buildings. C, minefields. Comment your answer. February 8th, 4:30 a.m. Russian columns begin movement. Southern column, 20 armored vehicles, tanks and BMPs, advancing on T-0509 highway. Western column, 15 vehicles, using secondary road. Eastern column, 10 vehicles, cross-country approach. The plan is coordinated assault from 3 directions. Overwhelm defenders, create confusion, break through at multiple points. Ukrainian observation posts spot movement immediately. Thermal cameras pick up heat signatures. Drone operators launch reconnaissance drones. DJI Mavic, Autel, commercial quadcopters, Cheap, expendable, effective for reconnaissance. The drones transmit video. Ukrainian command sees all 3 columns: sizes, composition, speed, artillery coordinates, fire missions assigned, infantry anti-tank teams alerted. Everyone waits. The southern column reaches the minefield first. 4:47 a.m., lead tank hits TM-62 mine. Explosion, track destroyed, tank immobilized, blocks road. Following vehicles stop, cannot pass. Road too narrow, fields too soft. The column is stalled. Ukrainian artillery fires, 150 km shells. Time on target, 30 seconds. Explosions bracket the column, vehicles scatter. Some try to reverse, others attempt to go around the disabled tank. Enter the soft ground. 2 BMPs bog down immediately, stuck in mud. Crews bail out. Run, more artillery. High explosive fragmentation. Airburst above infantry. Shrapnel rains down. Casualties mount. Anti-tank teams engage. Stugna P missile launches. Ukrainian-made laser-guided. Operator keeps laser on target until impact. Range, 3,200 meters. Missile flight time, 15 seconds. Impact on T-72 tank. Penetration, catastrophic kill. Ammunition detonates, turret flies off. Stay with me. The next 20 minutes show why mass without tactics equals mass casualties. The western column fares no better. Entering kill zone at 5 a.m. No minefield here, but pre-registered artillery waiting. The lead vehicles advance. Ukrainian artillery fires, multiple batteries, concentrated fire. The column disappears in smoke and explosions. Some vehicles burn immediately, others damaged, disoriented. Russian commanders order advance anyway. Push through. Speed is survival. Wrong doctrine. Speed on a kill zone just means dying faster. More vehicles enter. More artillery falls. NLAW missiles engage from flanks. Top attack mode. Strike turret roofs. Thin armor. 20 to 40 millimeters. Penetration easy. Explosions inside vehicles. The column fragments. Some vehicles reverse. Flee. Others push forward, seeking cover that doesn't exist. Ukrainian machine guns open fire. PKM 7.62 mm, Browning M250 caliber, suppressing infantry, preventing dismounts. Armored vehicles burn, infantry trapped inside or exposed outside. Both options are fatal. The eastern column attempts cross-country approach, avoiding roads, avoiding obvious kill zones. 15 vehicles, mostly BTR-82 wheeled armored personnel carriers, lighter than tanks, should handle soft ground better. In theory. Reality differs. The ground is saturated. Winter snow melted. Spring rain started. Clay soil. Sticky. Vehicles sink. Wheels spin. No traction. The column bogs down 4,000 meters from Vuhledar. Completely stopped. Ukrainian drones spot them. Artillery coordinates transmitted. Fire mission, 122mm guns. Not as powerful as 152mm, but sufficient against stuck vehicles. Shells impact. BTRs burn. Crews abandon vehicles. Run across open ground. Kilometers to any cover. Ukrainian machine guns engage. Long-range fire, effective suppression. Some Russians make it to cover. Most don't. By 6 a.m., all 3 columns are stopped. Southern, 15 vehicles destroyed or disabled. Western, 12 destroyed. Eastern, 10 abandoned. Total, 37 armored vehicles lost in 90 minutes. Russian casualties, estimated 300 plus killed or wounded. Ukrainian casualties, 5 wounded, 0 killed. The attack failed completely. Russian commanders regroup, new plan, artillery preparation, soften Ukrainian positions before next assault. Russian artillery fires, 150 mm, 120 mm. Grad rockets, hurricane of steel on Vuhledar. Buildings shake, concrete cracks, but the defenders are underground, basements, bunkers. Artillery kills few, destroys some positions, but Ukrainian forces adapt, reposition, prepare. 3:00 p.m., February 8th. Second assault begins. Different approach, no coordinated columns, sequential waves. First wave draws fire, identifies Ukrainian positions. Second wave exploits. Russian doctrine from World War II, human wave, except with armored vehicles. The first wave, 12 tanks, mix of T-72 and T-80. They advance on southern approach. Ukrainian forces hold fire initially, let them close, lure them deeper. At 2,000 meters, anti-tank missiles launch. Javelin, NLEW, Stugna P, Multiple missiles, multiple targets, simultaneous impacts, 6 tanks destroyed in 30 seconds. Remaining tanks reverse, flee. The second wave doesn't come. Russian commanders realize this tactic won't work either. Ukrainian positions are too strong, observation too good, firepower too concentrated. If defensive positions beat offensive mass, type WarFist TV in the comments. February 9th, Russian forces try again. Night assault, thermal imaging for attackers, infantry leading, armor supporting, creeping barrage, artillery moving forward as infantry advances. In theory, this is sound combined arms doctrine. In practice, it fails. Ukrainian forces have thermal imaging too. Night vision, starlight scopes. They see Russians coming. Artillery fires, illumination rounds, magnesium flares. The night becomes day. Russian infantry exposed, caught in open, machine guns, mortars, high explosive fragmentation. The infantry breaks, runs back. Armor without infantry is vulnerable. Anti-tank teams engage, more vehicles destroyed. The night assault collapses. Over the next 2 days, Russian forces make 5 more attempts, different tactics each time, flanking maneuvers, feints and main efforts, infiltration by small groups, engineer-led breaching operations. All fail. Vuhledar holds. The casualties accumulate. Russian 105th Naval Infantry Brigade is wrecked. Estimated 500–800 killed, 1,000 plus wounded. Over 130 armored vehicles destroyed or disabled, confirmed by satellite imagery. Oryx open source intelligence counts, photographs, geolocated videos. The satellite images tell the story. Before, fields are empty, roads clear. After, fields littered with burned vehicles, roads blocked by destroyed tanks, scorch marks, impact craters. The evidence is undeniable. February 11th, Russian offensive ends. Vuhledar remains Ukrainian. The political consequences are severe. Russian military bloggers criticize the operation. Criminal incompetence. Sending men to slaughter. Russian Ministry of Defense denies losses. Claims minor casualties. Nobody believes them. Ukrainian morale soars. Another Russian offensive defeated. Another elite unit destroyed. Western observers take note. Ukrainian defensive tactics are effective. Russian offensive tactics remain poor. The strategic impact is significant. Vuhledar controls logistics routes. Russia cannot resupply southern forces effectively while Ukraine holds the town. This limits Russian operational options, constrains their offensive potential. The defense of Vuhledar continues through 2023 and into 2024. Russian forces never stop trying. Smaller attacks, artillery bombardment, gradual destruction of the town. By late 2023, Vuhledar is 90% destroyed. Buildings are rubble. Infrastructure is gone. But Ukrainian forces remain, defending ruins, because the terrain and position matter more than the buildings. September 2024. Russian forces finally advance, not through frontal assault, through systematic encirclement, attacking from flanks, threatening Ukrainian supply routes. October 2024. Ukraine withdraws, organized retreat, minimizing losses. After 30 months of defense, Vuhledar falls. But Russia inherits ruins, and the casualty cost was staggering. Estimated total Russian losses defending and finally taking Vuhledar: 5,000–7,000 killed, 15,000 plus wounded, 300 plus armored vehicles destroyed, for a town of 14,000 people. Answer: all 3 working together create the defense. High ground provides observation and artillery advantage. Fortified buildings protect defenders and provide firing positions. Minefields channel attackers into kill zones. Remove any one element and defense weakens significantly. The synergy of all 3 makes the position formidable. Lessons from Vuhledar are clear. First, terrain matters. High ground provides decisive advantage. Observation, fields of fire, artillery effectiveness. Attackers must overcome terrain disadvantage plus defensive firepower. Second, fortifications multiply defensive strength. Prepared positions, pre-registered artillery, minefields, each multiplies the effectiveness of defenders. Third, mass without tactics fails. Russia committed hundreds of vehicles, thousands of troops, but poor coordination, predictable approaches, inadequate reconnaissance. The mass was wasted. Fourth, patience in defense wins. Ukrainian forces didn't rush, didn't abandon positions prematurely, held until position became untenable, then withdrew successfully. Fifth, logistics matter. Ukrainian forces sustained defense for 30 months. Ammunition resupply, food, water, medical evacuation, reinforcements, all maintained under fire. This enabled prolonged defense. Should Ukraine have withdrawn earlier? Could Russia have taken Vuhledar differently? Was the cost worth it for either side? Comment your analysis. Subscribe to WarFist TV. We analyze the battles that define defensive warfare. Vuhledar became a symbol of Ukrainian resistance, symbol of Russian incompetence, symbol that terrain and tactics defeat numbers and armor. The mining town on a hill destroyed Russia's 155th Naval Infantry Brigade. The Pacific Fleet Marines came to take a town. They left in body bags. Or didn't leave at all. 190 meters of elevation, 9-story concrete buildings, minefields and artillery, and Ukrainian defenders who refused to break. For 30 months, Vuhledar held. Russian waves crashed against it, broke, retreated, tried again, failed again, until finally Encirclement forced withdrawal. But by then, Russia had paid in blood and steel, 5,000 dead, 300 vehicles destroyed for ruins on a hill. The geography gave advantage. The fortifications multiplied it. The defenders exploited it. And Russian forces learned again that in modern warfare, position and preparation defeat mass and momentum. Stay vigilant.